Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Amerock number 7566-BB. This is a pair of burnished brass, that's the BB part in the part number, partial wrap, 1/4 inch overlay, face frame hinge. So in the world of typical let's say American-style cabinet hinges, if we're, excluding what we would have at once called European-style cabinet hinges, or grass hinges, we would have called them because of the manufacturer. There are several and many different terms used to describe what the door is doing in relationship to the face of the frame, where it is in terms of the face of the frame, what the hinge is doing in terms of it connecting to the jamb and to the door, and any other feature it might have, like self-closing, I suppose. So first of all, when you buy one, you're buying a pair of hinges. Okay, you'll get screws. Historically, they have included small little pieces of self-adhesive cork or like a sponge neoprene, but not this time. And I don't know why that's the case, except they're not here, so that policy may have changed. So let's cut one out of the paperwork here of the packaging and take a look at it. And then I'm going to try to help dispel what partial wrap, 1/4 inch overlay, face frame hinge means. And I am by no means an expert when it comes to cabinet hinges, but luckily you don't really have to be. Luckily for me. So this is what the hinge looks like. And again, the BB means burnished brass. Very typical sort of, color that you'd see in homes in the 70s, maybe the 60s as well. I know the home that I grew up in that was built in the 1960s had pecan cabinets and had a burnished brass, although they were closer to copper is really what they were. So right off the bat, partial wrap. That describes this leg here. A standard run-of-the-mill cabinet hinge is going to have its mounting points here and here. Not this hinge. It wraps back over the edge of the jamb, and then you secure it to the edge of the framework this way. Okay? Oop. Got too much hand really in there. Like that. So when the door is closed, my hand emulates the jamb. So it's a partial wrap where those screw holes go. Okay? The 1/4 inch overlay talks about the dimension that the door literally overlays the face of the opening. You can have inset, you can have overlay, you can have partial overlay, things of that nature, but they're really talking about that 1/4 inch dimension there. The only thing we're going to look up is face frame. Face frame. This is a self-closing hinge in that you have inside of here this piece of brown plastic here is spring-loaded so that when you close the leaf, it will force this feature of the plastic into this preparation inside the barrel of the hinge so that it seats itself closed. And it doesn't snap closed, but you get the door to within, 15 degree of close or so, or maybe 25 degree. Well, whatever, 15. It's going to close on you, which is nice. You don't have to push the cabinet all the way closed. Plus, what it does is serve to keep spring bias on the door to keep the door in the closed position rather than it standing slightly ajar, which would be incredibly inelegant for a cabinet door to not be fully closed. So these self-closing hinges, perform that function as well as just simply being self-closing. Now, there is some information down below this video that will allow us to review the overview. The burnished brass, it has a standard tip. That's going to be a reference to the pin here. There's nothing special going on. There's not a steeple procedure to it. It's not what we'd call institutional or or ligature resistant. It's just a standard tip. Self-closing, heavy-duty steel construction. Well, okay, I can tell you that it weighs about 0.23 pound 0.23 pound per pair, and they are definitely made of steel, according to my magnet. According to my magnet, they're ferrous. Dual spring mechanism, and that's that feature I showed you earlier. Door wing has 3 standard screw holes, as you see here. Okay. And the frame wing has 2 elongated holes for vertical adjustment. The 2 frame screws are included, which are number 6 by 5/8, and then they have 3 5 by half. So there are going to be 2 screws that are a little fatter and a little longer, is the bottom line. Now let's switch to the screen view where we can take a little deeper dive in terms of the terminology of this hinge. Okay, so this is the item that we're looking at. Deeper dive will start at the cut sheet, and that's going to really do us a good job in terms of just defining what we're dealing with. Heavy duty steel mechanism, dual spring, and here's our 1/4 inch overlay. Okay, and this really, although pixelated, shows us exactly that 1/4 inch dimension. And I'll put a tape measure on the hinge before we wrap this up. And you know, other overlays are typical. 1/2 inch is not unheard of. 3/8 inset is not unheard of. An inset where the door, as you can see here, partially encroaches into the opening space. This is not an inset hinge at all, and that's where our face frame definition comes in, or overlay definition also comes in. 1/4 inch. None of this door is mortised in the edge like this one would be here. This will give you different part numbers depending on the finish that you want. Oil rub bronze, satin nickel, and weathered nickel. Weathered nickel would be a dirtier antique nickel. Not dirty, but weathered is a good distressed nickel, maybe a little bit. You know, and then 1/2 inch overlay is here, and then your 3/8 inset items are here as well. So a deeper dive is also going to get us over to the manufacturer's page here. Now that's going to allow us to pull up all of the Amerock products that we sell, a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as catalogs, current and past. When I mean past, here's one from 1946, or at least a brochure of theirs. And we keep some of those archival documents there just for the fun of it. Now, this catalog from 2012 is the one that I like because they do a decent job at giving you indirectly definitions to the different mounting types. So why show this to you? Well, it's very likely that you are on the hunt for something that you're looking for, and I'm simply pointing you in the direction of a document that may be helpful to you. So when I type in 7566, I get right to the page where I can find my self-closing partial wrap hinge. They give you really nice clean dimensions here. Okay, although this document's quite old by this time, it does define what we're dealing with. Self-closing and partial wrap. 1/4 inch overlay. It's an overlay because the door overlays the face frame. And if you were to poke around through this catalog, you will end up seeing other definitions that may be appropriate. Here's a great example of full wrap. So we're dealing with a partial wrap. You'll notice that the difference is full wrap, or that frame angle for that frame leg actually wraps over the frame itself. So that would be a full wrap hinge. And we talked about the partial wrap. We talked about the different overlay dimensions. And if you were to scroll through here, you will certainly find, you know, face mount, you know, the classic ubiquitous cabinet hinge, these face mount hinges. And these side view drawings really go a long way to helping us understand what it is that we're dealing with. Okay. So a really handy document. Demountable hinges, single, double demountable. You basically cut mortises into the door and or door and frame, allowing you to slide the hinge or the door onto the hinge and tightening it with these mounting plates here, and it basically compresses the cabinet work and the hinge together. Okay. single demountable where you mortise the door only, and then it's a partial overlay or a partial wrap hinge. So you can do the same 7566 hinge we're doing in a single demountable right here, meaning there are no holes in the back of your leaf, and there would have to be a mortise done in the edge of your cabinet work. Here's a great picture of what that looks like here. That would be, of course, a double demountable. Single demountable is only this. So if you wanted to become educated to a reasonably dangerous extent on cabinet hinges, this would be a great document. And the name Amerock, of course, is synonymous with cabinet hardware. And they have been for several decades, as you saw from that earlier catalog. Let's wrap up this video on camera. Okay, nice quality set of hinges. I did expect to see our little rubber mutes, though, or our cork mutes. This client ordered 6 pair of hinges, and oh, there they are. Okay, I see what's going on here. So they have 4 of them in one package. There are plenty here for this job. Actually, there are more here than the client needs. So this was just a one-off package that actually did not have them in it. But you need 2, and these, most of these have 4. So you're in good shape. The client's getting all of their mutes, and these are some sort of a spongy type, a synthetic rubber, like an open cell neoprene is what I would call it, stealing a term from the world of weather stripping. I'm partial to Amerock, and it's because they're such a synonymous resource for some information via their catalogs, and plus they are a name synonymous with just material available in the marketplace. Good quality hinge. I expect that they'll continue with that sort of behavior. Any questions on, and by the way, the BP in the part number, the AM stands for Amerock, BP stands for bin pack. I think there may be 25 pair in a box, or 50, whatever. It might be 25. And of course, the 7566 is 1/4-inch overlay, face frame, partial wrap. BB is burnished brass. Any question on this or any other Amerock product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.